Hi there, welcome back. In today's video we're going to carry on with the Christmas theme using this stunning Arteza mica powder, Aztec Gold. Beautiful gold foil flakes. We're going to apply the powder using the brush, and then this mould, it comes in 3 parts. We've got this beautiful animal. This has only just been opened out of this packaging and it's already attracting hairs, but it's gorgeous. It's made from very good silicone. It's very sturdy. And then we've got the antlers. So it's a reindeer base body, and then the antlers, and then this gorgeous heart-shaped tray. Now these come as a set, but you could of course use them separately. Totally up to you, but for today's video we're going to make the whole thing for you. Now guess what I'm going to do. I'm using the dry bristle paintbrush and I've dipped it in the Arteza Aztec Gold mica powder, and I am coating all of the inside of the body part of the reindeer with the mica powder. Look at the shine on that. Now this is shiny already on the inside of this mould, so if you just wanted to use resin with no mica powders, it would have a shiny appearance, a glossy appearance when you demould it. So nothing to worry about there. You're not going to have a matte mould or anything like that. But this really, a little mica powder does go a long way, but I think I did end up overdoing it a wee bit, but never mind. So obviously you don't need to watch me do all of that, so I've cut some of it out. But look, do make sure that you tap your mould after you've put the powder in it and you've coated the inside with the powder, gently tapping like I'm doing here, to make sure you get all the loose bits of mica powder out of the mould. There we go. So as you can see, it's quite a bit was still loose in there. Obviously you can clean up the top edge part of the mould if you want to, or leave it till you've demoulded and then clean your mould. Totally up to you. So I'm just going back in thoroughly with the paintbrush, just really burnishing that colour onto the inside of the mould, making sure that it's all in the ears, it's in the nose, it's all in the detail parts, you know, the feet, the legs, everywhere. There we go. Yeah, for some reason, as I said, it's attracted dog hairs to the outside of the mould already. I don't know how, but there we are. So quite a lot of powder left over, which I then did a similar process with the reindeer antlers. So I'm sorry there's no footage of that. I thought I was recording, but it appears I wasn't. So literally just did exactly the same process. Now I haven't completely filled all of the antler parts up. There's a very good reason for that, which you will see very soon. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of what I did. So all I've done is a little dip in the powder, tapped most of it off, and then I'm just applying in the areas again where I think it needs a little bit more. So you can do it as a solid colour if you want, or you can do what I'm doing and just put it in parts of the mould, or you can leave it completely clear. Totally up to you. But I want it to tie in with the base or the body of the reindeer. So I'm just making sure, just doing exactly the same process as I did for the body part of the reindeer, and then turning the mould over and just lightly, very lightly tapping it to make sure it's all loose. Now, all the loose mica has come out even. So here is the beautiful heart-shaped tray. Now, as I said, you can use them completely separate. You don't have to use them together. But I am going to do exactly the same process as I've done for the body of the reindeer and the antler. I'm going to apply the mica powder. So bits of this have been sped up because obviously you don't need to sit for ages watching me do this. You will have seen me, if you've seen our videos before, doing this kind of technique. I decided to sprinkle on the mica powder to start with here. I was just having a bit of a play and enjoying myself, making sure I went down all on around the inside edge there of the mould as well. We are. Yeah, so if you've not seen me do this process before, why not check out some of our videos on our playlist? Plenty are there to choose from. Not all Christmas themed, but where we've done various different techniques, processes. Sometimes it's the first time we're trying it, sometimes it's not. We usually comment and say if it is, that it is the first time we've done it, but I've done this now a few times now, and yeah. Sometimes I flick the mica powder on like I've done there, and then burnish it in using the brush, or maybe even a gloved hand. You can see that I'm wearing gloves. I'm actually wearing white cotton gloves, and then over the top I'm wearing the pink nitrile gloves. That just gives me a bit of additional comfort and so on. You don't have to wear both lots, but do wear nitrile gloves, and as usual make sure you work in a well ventilated room, that you have I don't know if you saw then a bit of blue on my sleeve. I'm wearing sleeve protectors as well, and also that you wear a respirator mask, because mica powders can give you, it can be an irritant in your throat, and you don't want that. So there we go. So as you can see, I've just sort of thought, I'm going to give up with the brush a bit. I'm going to go in with my fingers. There we are. Obviously make sure you don't touch your face or anywhere else. After that you can just wipe it off your gloves with a wet wipe, or you can go and run them under the tap and dry your gloves off. You don't need to change your gloves again for the next process. So there we go. I'm just decided, I'm going to try this. Let's see if it makes it any better. So the idea here was to have not a solid colour again. It's similar to what we've done with the reindeer antlers. I didn't want a solid colour of gold, even though it's beautiful, and you could, nothing's stopping you from doing that if that's what you want to. You could mix gold with silver, with copper, with bronze, totally up to you. But this is what I wanted to do. So there you go. I've just turned it inside a little bit, so you can see I've got a line of the gold mica powder going down there. That'll actually be the top edge of the tray. Yeah, I had to think about that then for a minute. Yeah, top edge of the tray, but it's beautiful. It gives almost like a faded look, or an old gold sort of. Is it mercury glass? I think it sort of reminds me a bit when it's finished and done. So this is the resin I've made up. This is 250 mils. This total project took 360 mils. I probably had about 10-15 mils left over. But this is Tea Expert resin, 1:1 mixing ratio, and then stirred for about 5 minutes just to make sure it's all thoroughly mixed, making sure you scrape off the back of the spatula and round the sides of the pot, and then left for a couple of minutes so the bubbles could just disappear and burst and so on. So I've decanted a little bit into a paper cup there, and I'm going to add some more of this Aztec gold mica powder to the resin. There we go. Not too much, Laura. Reminds me I've got to see if I can get hold of this mica powder again and reorder. So there we go. Popped it into the cup with the resin, just stirring it, mixing it in. Arteza's mica powders do tend to mix really well, and there's never usually any lumps or clumps, but make sure you haven't got any. Gorgeous, literally liquid gold that is. So we're going to fill up the body of the reindeer. I'm just going to give it another little tap just before we do that. Make sure there's no little loose bits of mica powder there. And squeezing the paper cup together. Obviously, if you're using a silicone jug and it's got a more of a pouring spout, then go ahead and use that. But we were using up these cups. So very steadily, just pouring a little trickle of the resin into where the head section of the mould is. And then giving all those parts, so where the ears are and the nose, any of those bits, a good squidge. So I don't know if you could see there, but the resin was coming up and then going back down in the mould. That's exactly what you want to see. And I'm just going to repeat it again. I filled a bit more up and doing it again. This is to make sure that you're not getting any air pockets trapped in the mould where the detail is in the head, because you don't want to demould it and then find you've only got one ear that's had resin in it, or 1.5 ears and so on. So just being extra specially careful. I'm just going to top it up there, all the way to the top. Going to scrape out that last bit there. And then what we'll do is we'll put that to one side. Now this mould did need a little bit of support. Although it's quite sturdy, it did need some support, and I was a bit worried that it would get knocked and then go over, and then obviously you have resin everywhere. So if you're at all, uncertain about its sturdiness whilst it's curing, then make sure you just support it, and you just do that by putting a couple of things either side of it, basically. So I put that to one side. I gave it some spritzes of some isopropyl alcohol just to clear any little surface bubbles that were left. And with the rest of the resin, I am adding in some of this lovely gold foil flakes. Although this doesn't really look like flake to me, it just looks like big chunks of it. But obviously put as much or as little in as you want to. Now that you're going to say, my gosh, that's never going to work. Once you start stirring this into the resin, and depending on how vigorously and how long you stir for, it breaks up in the resin and still has a flake-like look to it, but it does break up, so it goes to smaller pieces. There we are. If you'll see what I mean in a minute. There you go. Now that's about what you want. So here we go. I'm going to use a silicone jug with a pouring spout on it. So this is a smaller jug. I'm going to decant some of that gold flake mixed resin into the jug. And then that will give me an easier, more precise way of being able to pour it into the antler part of the mould. And as you can see, I've got this on a bit of greaseproof paper, just in case we have any spillage. Resin, we have discovered, does not stick to greaseproof paper, which is great. So there we go. I just love the way that gold looks in the mould. Here we are now then. So very carefully trying to make sure that I'm pouring with purpose and not over pouring. Although, spoiler alert, we do have quite a bit of overpour on this. I don't think the area where I put this to cure was level. I thought it was, but it wasn't. And we do have quite a bit to tidy up as regards overpour. Right, so we're just going to continue to fill this up. Now, everything we've used in today's video will be linked in the description box below. If anything at all is sold out, we would always try and provide you with a suggested alternative. But if it's not, then I'm afraid it's because we can't find a suggested alternative. And I suggest that you keep an eye on the website, which the link is for, to see when it comes back into stock. There we are. So as I said, you don't have to do exactly what we've done. You could do it in solid opaque colour resin if you want. You can do it all clear, and then you could maybe decorate it with a few little embellishments, maybe some seed pearls or some nice little crystal stones perhaps. Totally up to you. There we are. We're just pouring it in there. You could do a couple of colour combos perhaps. You could have glitter only in the antlers and a solid opaque base for the body perhaps. That would be nice. As I said, you don't have to have the reindeer and the antler with the tray, but it was sold as a set. You're supposed to be able to display or use the antler part of this to put rings on and bracelets and necklaces, you know, a bit like a jewellery sort of holder, I suppose. Yeah. And then maybe put bigger items, a watch or something in the tray part, so it would live on a bedside table or on a dressing table perhaps. But we were thinking this is quite Christmassy, so maybe use the tray as a nice display piece for putting, you know, Christmas things in, and have the reindeer just as a Christmas decoration. Will look gorgeous on a table, coffee table, maybe as part of a centerpiece with some candles perhaps. But yeah, so you can see here we've got quite a bit of overpour there in the corner that I'm looking at now, and I made the decision to demold it. Now it was still bendy at this point, but I thought we're going to have to try and get rid of all the overpour to trim it all off, and it needs to be not completely rock solid in order for us to do it. It's a lot of overpour, and that is purely because where I put this to cure wasn't as level as I thought it was. Now that resin has actually pulled out of another area of the mould, which has mean that there is a slight cavity in the back part, but it hasn't detracted from it, which is fine. But look at that. I think that looks stunning. Ignore the overpour. I do think it looks stunning. So that will go in the reindeer head there. And it's beautiful. Such a warm glow golden colour. It's really got a warm glow about it, that gold. So here we go. Wayne very kindly tidied up all the little bits of overpour for me. Thank goodness. Thank you, Wayne. And I just can't get over how beautiful. It's very tactile as well, this. Now, I thought I'd use the Star Bond, which is an activating glue, a CA glue, to actually adhere the antler to the head, in the head part of the reindeer. Yes, well, all good things, as they say, or all plans. But this is where you really have to think on your feet. Now, I thought I'd put more than plenty of this glue in there in order to get the antler to stick in. Yes, I was incorrect. As you can see, I'm putting on perhaps way too much, but it didn't stick, which was really odd because this glue will normally stick anything to anything within a matter of a few seconds, which is why I was somewhat surprised with this. And of course, because I've used too much glue, it then spilt out over the top. But I do come up with a solution to rectify it. So you see what I mean there? It's not doing what it should be doing, and then the glue is starting to leak out of the top. You see? And we've got a bit of a gap at the back there, which is where the resin had escaped from. So, to the rescue, UV resin. Brilliant glue. If you need to use it, it's brilliant. So just put a little bit in, and then all around the sides of the part of the antler there that goes in. And then warning, UV light coming up. I'm going to use the UV torch coming up any moment now, just to cure that resin in, and then the antlers will actually become stuck, as they're supposed to be, to the head part of the body of the reindeer. So just wiping up a little bit of excess there, just with a little wet wipe. Now we're gonna just position it, hold it down, and then use a UV light. So as I said, warning, if you've got, any kind of photosensitivity, or you're not good with the UV light and the torch, it's coming up any moment now. Any moment, just topping up a bit more UV resin in there. Yeah. And here we go with the torch. Now, I did use the torch for about a minute. Obviously, you're not going to see a whole minute with me doing this. And then when I finished doing the whole of the decoration part of this, I put it under our UV lamp for 2 minutes on each side. So if you can see there, the glue, when it's spilled out, has actually, it's marked the top of the reindeer head, and I couldn't get it off, and I didn't want to try and scrape it because I didn't want to scratch it. So UV resin to the rescue yet again. So I put some UV resin into this rather lovely little silicone heart-shaped container, or little mixing container, and then I added some of what I call the magic glitter. So it's just white iridescent glitter, if you can see there. So any glitter that you've got will do. You don't have to use white. I just thought I wanted to use white because I wanted to replicate snow. You could use gold glitter if you wanted to. So just squidged in, I love that word, squidge, a bit more of the UV resin, added a bit more glitter, gave it a good thorough mix, and then started to apply it using my stick. Now, I did this in layers, so we start off with this kind of layer. So can you see the effect that we're sort of going for here? Apologies, it does go slightly out of camera shot here. My apologies. Must do better, Laura. Must do better. So just using a stir stick, or you can use whatever implement or tool you're most comfortable, and then applying a UV torch or UV lamp to cure it. As you can see there. There we go. So you can see the kind of effect, and then I am going in again with some more. So it almost gives her, I'm going to call it a her or a she, a little crown of glittery, sparkly snow. So as if it's been, the reindeer has been sat on the ground and the snowflakes have fallen down, and then they've just landed on her head there, a bit like a lovely little crown of sparkly snow, as you can see there. Now, I have also done the same round the back. So it looks beautiful. A tiara of glittery snow. And now I'm going to put the same on the front paws. The front paws? Yeah, the front paws of her leg. Do they have paws? Actually, no, they don't. They have hooves, don't they? Cats and dogs have paws. Oh, goodness me, Laura. Getting tired, sorry. Applying again, same thing, same process. Put a bit on, apply the UV torch. If you're happy with the amount you've put on, move on to your next thing. If not, then just put another little layer on and repeat the process. So there we go. I'm just repeating the process. And the UV torch. And as I said, once I was happy with all of it and the decoration, I did put it for another couple of minutes each side under our main UV lamp that we've got, which is a bit more powerful than a torch. So there we are. I'm just finishing off the hooves. Obviously, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. And if you don't have the same, I'm doing this literally because I wanted it to tie in with the little snow crown that I've had to put on her head. If you don't get any marks from glue and so on, then you don't have to do it. But look at this. In all her regal elegance and splendour and beauty, the antlers are stunning with a capital S, and she is gorgeous with a capital G. You can draw little eyes on if you want to. I haven't bothered. I continue to put some snow on her back, on the tops of her back legs there, and on her back of her body. Now this is the tray. This is gorgeous. It gives a like mercury glass effect, I think. There where we've used the mica powder to discolour it slightly with the gold, and then the golden flake. Absolutely beautiful. And then here's the final shot, the two of them together. So if you've joined us today, thank you again. Hope you're enjoying the videos so far. Why not check out the rest of our previous ones we've done in our playlist, and we'll have another one again for you soon, very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Season's greetings. Maybe a bit early for that yet. Take care, everyone. Bye.